properties.
For you. Now they can hear me.
I mean, that's fine.
Don't need both of us.
Why is it? It's not showing right.
Hey, move your camera down a little bit. You're like cut off. Or
On
or
your
sit
end?
up. Either or. Maybe it was just because you were like leaning down.
Whoa, I'm just looking over.
Yeah. But like you were like there you go. There you go. You looks much better.
Hold on, I'm trying to. It's just my cable. All right.
Proper posture. Gamers don't know.
Yeah,
No, that-
to each their own.
That was
Well,
a
I just know that you and I both have, different webcam
yeah,
layouts for our overlays. So it's
we
not
do.
one and the same. So I'm more in line with what mine is, not yours.
Well, I can adjust mine. Like, I got so many fucking options. I can zoom out. I can zoom way in.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
All right, let me create your dashboard.
I can like white balance this.
I'm gonna stream on the Overwatch 2 category this time. Last time I tried just chatting, which still worked a lot better than being in a podcast category on Kick. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how we do on the Overwatch 2, and then I'll just base my judgment on that in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Heroes Never Die. Episode 257.
I thought it was 258.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did I just not update it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just didn't update the actual title. 258. Well, fine. I will adjust it again.
I don't delete things as I should, so I look at whatever the last thumbnail I saved was, and I'm like, all right, now I need to go up one. Plus one.
Podcast. That's good. It's safe. All right.
That game was whiplash. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Is the bug back?
Which one?
Where if I have a full screen application, it cuts Discord off. That's okay.
Oh, nice.
It's good to figure that out now rather than during the show. I mean, it's easy enough to fix. Like, it's not a big deal. I just... All right. Well, we are live, ready to go. I hope everybody has enjoyed this random preamble.
All right, let me mute my phone. I'll boot up my stream.
Yeah. We are live.
Let's do a damn thing. All right, got that going. Let me get my stream up. Make sure that's going.
Viewership's not too bad for this late at night. I'm curious
to be honest, I didn't even look.
I'm curious to see. Oh my God, what is Jonathan wearing?
Who knows? All right, just get the show notes up again, and I will be good.
All right, let's see. What's the first thing we're talking about? World Cup skins are gonna cost you. Yeah.
I mean, eventually. I mean, if you're talking about like actual links, yeah.
Yeah. I just, depending on how I open them, it either goes right to left or left to right. So I just needed to know where to start. So.
Right on. All right. Well, I'm good.
Let's get started. I'm starting the recording.
Okay. I got my audio going for the backup. All right, we're good. What's up, nerds, and welcome back to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all things competitive Overwatch and Overwatch 2. I am your host, Emily Drunk, and we got another packed show for you here tonight. Mid-season madness is officially underway. We actually have games going on right now. Great timing. The one time we actually have Thursday games is also the night we are actually podcasting, despite being on a bi-weekly recording, but also set it back a week. But everything kind of just like aligned much better to record this week. But
Yeah.
outside of that, Team 4 had also dropped the Season 6 trailer during the Xbox Games Showcase, which happened like a couple of days before we really had any sort of details on Season 5. So, like, the Season 5 trailer dropped a couple of days after. And, of course, we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But before we do, just a couple of general podcast reminders. Of course, you can reach us over on Twitter at H&D Overwatch. Find all of our video content on our YouTube at Overwatch League Network and also H&D Overwatch. But more importantly, you can join our community Discord to engage with everyone over there at discord.me/OWLN show. Now, with that being said, of course, joining me tonight is my co-host Spyder. And Spyder, lately, we're not going to sugarcoat this. You and I have both kind of been back and forth on regards to, the current state of Overwatch 2, kind of like the things that we're seeing kind of behind the scenes. And, obviously, like the competitive side of the game, at least for like the Overwatch League, is still doing enough to entice us to like keep watching. But on the Overwatch 2 front, it really feels like there's been a lot of dogpiling, especially when it comes to certain microtransactions, which of course, we'll be diving into a little bit when we talk about the PvE components that are coming along with Season 6. But, it just feels like, you and I are constantly just like kind of going back and forth. We're trying to feel each other out, see where one another is at. And we're both kind of in the same mentality where we're like, the big picture for Season 6 is really, where are we going to be at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like right now, I'm not going to say I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm still in that mindset of, obviously what we're getting so far has underdelivered. And Season 6 is still kind of like that pivotal moment where it's like, okay, like if this doesn't grab our attention and like really grab us by the collar, there's a very good chance we'll be backing away.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. Like we've both been talking behind the scenes, like how you feeling about Overwatch and stuff like that. Look, the core game and the PvP game is great. Like I still immensely enjoy it. Like I still log into it every day and play it pretty much every day, except for like at the end of the season or if something like Tears of the Kingdom or something comes out and like just completely like Diablo 4 comes out and completely consumes you. But other than that, I still immensely enjoy like the short bursts of playing it. I understand like competitive and playing for long hours a day, can lead to frustrations. But the core game I still have a lot of fun with, and obviously I still immensely enjoy the competitive aspect because I just did a fucking hour and a half pre-stream where I just talked about competitive matches the whole time because we were watching the game on the stream, a vast style. So, I still love the game, but like, it's like you said, like the constant, like nickel and diming, like dogpiling, like on and on and on and on. Like, it just, to me, it feels like Blizzard is like trying to milk this franchise to its death. Like it no longer has become that, labor of love that, Jeff Kaplan brought up from the ashes of Titan. Like this is something we threw together because we all loved it and wanted to make it. At this point, it is fully transitioned into how much money can this make us? And I'm going to talk about specific aspects of why I feel that way later. But I will say the core game and the competitive scene definitely keep me like want to be invested in it. But at the end of the day, much like you, and I'm sure a bunch of other people are feeling, there's only so much that we can take till we're like, well, I don't want to feel this way about spending money anymore. Like I can tell you, this is the first season that I didn't buy the premium pack. Like Normally, before I had always had the hope of PVE and stuff like that, so I always bought the premium battle pass and the premium pack. So I always got the extra skin, and I had the coins, and then I would use the coins next season to buy the pass, and then I would spend seasonally. Because the games that I play, that's typically how I do it. I enjoy it. Like Destiny, if they have a cool skin, I'll buy it. I buy the battle passes for Destiny every season. The difference is, and I'll get in. I'll just say that for later because that's part of my argument later.
Right.
But yeah, it's like the behind the scenes. Like there's so much we can take. So I still love the game. Like I absolutely love the game. So I want to stick it out till season 6, and at season 6 we're gonna play those story missions. Because obviously we're gonna buy them and try them out and see, if this is really worth it. To me, there's gonna have to be like a reckoning at that point, and I'll talk about like my specific feelings then. But it's been a long time since I talked to you, man. It's been like what 3 weeks since we've done a show.
It's been 3 weeks. Normally we don't have a lapse in like pushing the show back because I mean normally like both of us are really strict when it comes to like scheduling the podcast. But it was just like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, like this is our normal record week. We don't have any Overwatch League games, so like that was one thing, and we're like, all right, well, new season also starts next week, so it just made perfect sense
Right.
for us to be like, all right, we'll just wait another week. Sure, it kind of like threw off like our Nova Sector recordings and whatnot too on top of that, but it is what it is. It just made more sense for us to do it this way, and it just meant that we're just gonna have an actual show tonight rather than trying to like, piece something together and then maybe throw out something that maybe we don't feel as good about. No, that being said, we are at mid-season madness at this point in time, and along with that, we have seen a couple of changes to some of the Overwatch League rosters for some of the teams who did not quite make the cut. To make it to mid-season madness, and for those who have not been paying attention, unfortunately, our teams are not playing this week.
Nope. Whoa. Oh,
Which
is
are we
Ramsey's
gonna be
here already?
graced? Unbelievable. See, now I'm gonna have to like change it up and
I know,
actually
right?
This
switch
is
to
the
the other
latest you guys have ever
overlay.
started, and I left work early too.
Okay, hold on. I gotta actually fix my overlay now.
Yeah, I know.
I love making
Again.
this difficult.
I got so much to fix. So how you doing, Ramsey?
Is it actually going to switch though when
I'm
we are
doing
live?
okay. It's been a very tumultuous couple weeks at work, and we're getting stuff that needs to be taken care of, and replacements that need to be made. So we're on the road to getting stuff put back together, thankfully.
Like replacements in people or replacements? Okay, staffing replacements. The funnest kind of replacements.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at the point now where like I am. You could tell me. You can see this because I was I co-hosted a podcast with Ednar that I am a patient. And that
I too had. I think we all that's our other podcast, the Ed and R podcast support group.
We talk a lot of trash about Ed, and he's never. One day he'll come out of the grave to defend it.
I still talk to him every
he?
other probably once a month. I still talk to him and see how he's doing. So he's relegated to the Switch right now. So
I miss that guy. I hope he's doing well.
He's doing good. Well,
but anyways, Ramses, it's great to see you. It's been it's been a minute. We were just talking about how like it'd been like 3 weeks since our last recording, since we pushed back a week. But anyways, as I mentioned, we are at mid-season madness. Unfortunately, well, I guess fortunately for Ramses, he's got a team to watch this week.
Bro, I feel like I've had this discussion with Labosco, who I did push to the point with, where like, when I've been a Chiefs fan since I was in 6th grade, and then when the Chiefs won like their second Super Bowl, I was like, oh, that's cool, but like it's like whatever, like we already got one, it's fine. Like getting 2 is cool, and then he's be like, can you imagine how much I've wanted this for my entire life and it's never happened for me? Can you imagine? Oh my gosh! And now it's the same thing with Houston, where I'm like, but like now that we're really good, like it's whatever, it's fine, it's cool. I expect I expect the worst, but hopefully we get the best out of it.
I hope they do well.
Only time is going to tell, but you know, we have seen a couple of roster overhauls in, you know, the past week or so in the Overwatch League. I do know, you know, the Seoul Dynasty recently made some changes by releasing Prophet and also bringing on Ezon. So, you know, really looking just to
Is that how we
stabilize
say his
the
name now?
No, I thought it was
some-
Easy Han.
I thought it was Easy Han too.
I mean, to each their own. But either way, you know, we've been looking for stability on the DPS line for the Dynasty, obviously, since, you know, the Prophet and Prophet duo didn't really work out all that well. Prophet's less than stellar performance on, you know, Sojourn definitely didn't help all that all that much. And you know, or Easy Han, as you guys are saying, it's you know, did a fairly good job during the mid-season Manus East qualifiers as part
Dude's
of
a beast.
the contenders team Dreamer. So he's getting another opportunity and crack at the Overwatch League. So we'll have to see how he's going to fare at this point in time. But you know, that wasn't like the only overhaul that we did see. But I have to say, like, I definitely I'm feeling a little bit better with this move, just knowing that, you know, the Prophet duo didn't really quite you know, reach the heights that we were expecting. But you know, it happens, right? Like we see people getting called up to the Overwatch League. Sometimes they don't make a splash, and then it's always better to at least give them enough time to like try to make the adjustments. At least like with the Defiance, which we'll talk about here shortly. You know, they kind of like gave some of the players that they were releasing kind of like a trial period to like really start more games. Didn't really work all that well, and then we, you know, eventually saw the cut come in. But you know, it's a pretty quick turnaround, at least here for the Seoul Dynasty on that front.
Yeah. No, I mean, if anything, it's at least going to be easier on the casters now. So, but no, Easy Han's a beast. Like he popped off during the, you know, the knockout bracket. So I think this is a good pickup for Dynasty. I think him and Prophet together could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see how it goes. Dynasty's been really fun to watch so far, but I know like it was. I don't know, I feel so disconnected from so much of the APAC stuff just because it started differently and it's been like obviously the different schedule. Like it's been like oh right, there were two Prophets. Like it's a lot of having to catch up.
I mean, we kind of like, you know, we're basing it off of your power rankings too, like.
Yeah, where you
Wait,
kept putting like
really
Infernal and Last for like 3 weeks, and I'm like, dude, they're the best team in like the East by far.
Yeah, I'm doing what I said I would do. Where I like what I initially said I was gonna do like seasons ago. Where I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll just split coverage of like who watches what.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm only watching APAC or I'm only watching NA, and now it's like, whenever I'm doing stuff for the show, I'm like, okay, crap, I gotta catch up.
Right. But at least this week you get to watch a little bit of everything. So.
The Defiant moves are like, I don't know what's up with this franchise, man. If they're also like, I don't know if I would so far as to say cursed, but like, this is another time. I mean, this is another time of them bringing in a roster full of like high level talent, and it just still not like. Look, this team wasn't going to be like the best, I guess. As far as this team was not going to be like number 1, number 2, number 3, but for them to struggle as much as they have, it's still been really surprising. I mean,
agree.
Speedily was somebody we were talking about last year, was like a top, like an immediate contender for Rookie of the Year. Like I remember people talking like before he started playing, there was rumors going around like, yeah, like this guy's a beast, like you got to watch out, he's like he can make a run for Rookie of the Year. Sam like had his moments with San Francisco. OG had good moments last year too. It's just a little bit surprising.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like for people that watch contenders, especially like on the NA side of thing, you know, when we see a team like American Tornado get picked up, or actually just reunited, I guess would be the proper way to put it in this case, since, you know, we did see them divulge a little bit, even though all of them did get kind of, you know, sucked into the Overwatch League. But there's always that constant discussion about how these contenders teams are going to do at this level. And whether it's been on the NA side, whether it's been on EU, it's always been a question of, well, are they going to be a bottom of the barrel team, or are they actually going to be competitive? Because we know what to expect out of these teams out of Korea. They've always fared better when they've been getting the call up, whether it's like a stack of four or just wholesale roster across the board. And of course, we kind of saw that in the East qualifiers for the midseason madness. Seeing how some of the teams fared there, especially like O2 Blast in particular, doing really well, which was kind of expected, since they kind of are the feeder team. But it's like time and time again, it's just like, man, it just feels like such a big blow for like these NA players, seeing like, all right, well, here's your opportunity. We're gonna put you on the field. Try to ball out, and we'll see what happens. And then it's just like, we see them play. We have an idea of what to expect, but it's just like, I can't help but feel like it's just floundered at this point. It's just letdown after letdown. So it's like, at what point are we going to see that pivot from these teams that are getting called up? Like, who's going to be the one to break the mold for the NA or the EU scene? Because it has not happened still.
No, and I mean, in general, like, outside of what the runaway to the Titans, that's pretty much been it. You can make maybe an argument for Element Mystic because they kind of stuck together. But beyond that, like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like it's going to be better for teams to just, pick and choose players and then integrate them into their system. But to the Defiant specifically, yeah, they were a huge letdown because we were hyping them up going into the season. We were like what Ramsey said, like we didn't expect them to be number one in the league, but we expected them to be like the top gatekeeper team, I think is one of the terms we used, like the team to get into the upper echelons. And they weren't even that. Like they were the team to get out of the bottom. Like they were the best of the worst pretty much. So yeah, it's not surprising that they're making moves, but I am a little surprised that these were the moves that they made, because I don't necessarily think that these were the problem players necessarily. Like I honestly think Kaluj is one of the bigger problems. He just has not been performing to that level, and maybe that goes back to like the support line. Maybe that's why OG left. But that's the kind of stuff we'll never know. The interesting thing now is we're gonna have to see how Team USA does, because it's basically Team USA that just got broke up. So I am curious to see who they pick up, because they announced like all these people leaving, these 3 people leaving, but they didn't announce any pickups yet. So I'm curious to see what direction they go, especially with all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Like we don't have it on our notes, but they made a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes happen. Like they basically just gave everybody like a waiver that says like all back fees are gone now. Like all buy-in costs are gone. They're
Toronto
restructured.
specifically were the team like pushing that forward.
Right, well. Exactly.
Yeah, through overactive media, yeah.
So now I'm curious to see what they do, because now they don't have that hanging over their head. So now they have a little more incentive to reinvest or to leave. Like, I'm curious to see, like, this is going to be that pivotal moment of, should I stay or should I go? Right. Kind of thing. So I'm curious to see where they go, because Toronto in their, or I shouldn't say Toronto, Overactive Media in their press release, when they talked about, the removal of all these fees, made it seem like they wanted to reinvest in the Overwatch League to make it profitable. Like they wanted a road to profitability. Whereas then they immediately turn around and release 3 of their players. Makes me think that PR is saying one thing while they are slowly inching out the door. So I'm curious to see what happens with this team.
Well, it brings me back to like Chengdu, because like obviously like Chengdu dipping was way earlier than this. So I wonder, had this happened a little bit sooner, whether maybe there would have been a little bit more consideration to kind of stick it out in the Overwatch League. But time is gonna tell. I'm not gonna say like the the grander scheme of things, or just the bigger picture in the long run, is going to look a lot better because of this. But obviously, it's a good sign for the franchises who are currently in the league, just to not have that just extra burden on top of them, knowing just the current profitability just isn't there, especially as we talked about at like the homestand level, like running these events at a losing cost at this point.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about something shortly that is going to lead to that road to profitability. And funny thing, it's something we mentioned 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that they just finally figured out. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, this Defiant stuff took me a little by surprise. But I'm curious to see what pickups they make to replace these players.
Yeah, we probably won't hear anything until after mid-season madness. On top of that, but
yeah,
we'll probably hear something by our next recording on that front. So outside of that, we also have the Overwatch World Cup qualifiers starting up this next week. And we do have Overwatch World Cup skins available to purchase in the Hero Gallery. So World Cup skins can be bought for 1,000 Overwatch coins, which is basically the same cost as the Battle Pass. Only 1,000, guys. $10, and an Overwatch World Cup skin can be yours. That is right. And here's the thing. We know that Overwatch World Cup is going to be broadcast on YouTube and Twitch. We know we are going to get Twitch drops for, player icons, sprays. I know they said, about a couple of home and away skins for some of the heroes as well. So, you are going to be getting something regardless. But yes, I saw the price point for the skins and I was like, Blizzard, are you fucking serious?
Wait, are they the new coins or are they the old coins? Because which one are the new coins? I thought the new coins had a different name. I thought Overwatch coins were the old coins. Am I crazy?
Let me double check.
Look, I know they're not Overwatch League tokens, right? So
because I'm pretty sure the Dexerto just listed it as coins.
Yeah, they listed. Yeah, but look, I love their reporting, but they're not always correct. Like this, if it's 1,000 of the new coins, that's fucking nuts. If it's 1,000 of the old coins, that's not so bad.
Right. Well, in the meantime, while I look this up, let's talk about the other component of that, which is the new Sojourn skin that's coming, which is the Ocean Goddess skin. And this skin is basically going to be celebrating the World Cup, and it's also going to be serving as a crowdfunding tool for the tournament, specifically for the prize pool. This is another thing, this is a thing that we have been wanting for such a long time. We've seen in the past Match Reno tournaments being held where the prize pools are getting crowdfunded, and we saw how well that worked during the weekly tournaments way back in beta days of Overwatch, talking about
back in the day
weeklies and whatnot, back in the OG days of competitive Overwatch. And yeah, sure enough, we're finally bringing it back. About damn time.
Mm-hmm. No, the skin looks really good. I am going to go out on a limb and say it is probably the new coins, just because of the fact that they actually specifically list that 25% of all Overwatch World Cup cosmetics and bundles will contribute to the Overwatch World Cup prize pool. So I would go out on the limb and say, regardless of whatever the fuck they're called, because I'm pretty sure just Overwatch coins are the regular coins.
Yeah, I see it as the yellow currency.
Yeah, so... yeah, so I mean that's good. The individual skins being that much is ridiculous, but I mean at least it's going to the prize pool. So at the end of the day, it's not too far out of line of their normal skin pricing, I guess, because a legendary skin costs what, 1,900 usually.
Yeah.
So if these are epic, you would consider these epic skins because they're just naturally recolors. I guess that's not super out of line. I mean, it's egregious, but it's, I guess, market value. I don't know. Ramses, what do you think?
Like, we've Blizzard, like, since Overwatch 2 comes out has been like not under inspection, but like people have been very critical about every pricing thing they've done, and it feels like a lot. Maybe it's because like this is the closest. There's more crossover for the casual fan to buy these versus like Overwatch League skins. I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Like people bought certain skins because like, oh, well, I like that one and it looks cool, but like not. There's like much more crossover between like World Cup and just casual Overwatch viewership. That being said, if it's the price of the battle pass and that or I can get maybe 4 or 5 skins versus one, why am I buying the World Cup skin? Because I want to be a good fan? Like that's not enough. Like you got like we'll do it. Oh, like people like us will do it, but like the casual viewer is not going to be like, well, I could buy one World Cup skin or I can get the entire battle pass. It just doesn't make sense on that end. For the crowdfunding, I'm excited for it. I am always not anxious. I don't give it that much power. I'm always like cautious with these kinds of things because I feel like maybe it's just me being a pessimist about Overwatch stuff, but like I just always feel like it's the minute it doesn't get above a certain level, Bobby Kotick is sitting there going like, you see guys, this is why we aren't doing it.
Mm-hmm. I will say,
like,
oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
You go. That was it.
I will say you are getting some skins for free, so you can get the Winston, the Wrecking Ball, Zenyatta, and Ramacha skins just for watching it, along with sprays and player icons. It looks
4 hours.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be sold at least according to the official article. They're going to be sold in bundles, and it says they will feature the new Overwatch World Cup home and away skins for heroes hailing from each of the 3 regional conferences. So you got Reaper and Ashe, which I would assume is North and South America. You have Reinhardt and Widowmaker, which is Europe, and then obviously Kiriko and Diva, which is the Pacific region, I guess, or whatever they want to dub it. So if it's $1,000 for 4 skins, that's not terrible. Now, if it is 2,000 coins for 4 skins, still not horrible, but it's not as bad as like that article made it out to be. So I'm curious to see like unfortunately the official article doesn't tell you the price point. So and Dextro just says it's 1,000 coins per skin. So there's a lot of interpreting that we can do in between that, so that that it could be 4,000 coins per bundle, which at that point you're like that's the worst end of the spectrum. And obviously as the community, that's kind of where we're at. We're like, all right, we're gonna land on the worst end of the spectrum.
It's gonna be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so if it's somewhere in the middle, that's not bad. Like I am willing to buy a couple of these bundles to help support World Cup, because that A is something I've been bitching for 4 years now, and B, I know it's actually going to go to the teams, because that's one of the other nice things about the article is they literally break down where the prize pool is going to the teams, to the top teams. So that's super nice of them to actually show us where some of our money is going to be going. So it's cool that they're doing this. Like I'm 100% in favor for this. Like I said, I've been complaining for something like this for years, and I don't understand why it took them this long, because this company did this in StarCraft fucking 10 years ago. So I don't understand it. Like, but real quick, the Sojourn skin looks awesome. Like I think it's a cool direction that she's going. There are going to be so many thigh memes though. Holy cow. Like the amount of, I don't know.
Have we seen the official like render? Because I've seen like they posted like the concept art, but they posted like the official art for it, and they did a lot.
Yeah, it was just the concept art that we've seen.
Yeah, I have the concept art on the stream right now, and it is if you are a thigh man, you are eating good tonight.
Now that being said, of course, the qualifiers kick off on June 22nd, and those will be going through July 2nd. I would love to do some like World Cup co-streams
Yeah,
at some point during that, whether it's just region specific for Americas or just figuring out what times work. But I would just love to do just more co-streams just in general moving forward. But World Cup is always a great time, and it seems like the casual viewership, at least from the esports level, always seems to see a pretty big uptick for the World Cup as well. So really looking forward to seeing how it works. And we didn't really discuss at length really what the breakdown is in regards to the crowdfunding, at least for the prize pool. But the gold medalist gets 25%
yeah, that's
of of the stake there. So pretty sizable amount. And then you're basically like guaranteed.
I'm happy for it.
If,
Ramses,
you're
I
on
don't know
the
if you're watching the game, but Houston's up one map so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I saw Decay go in, throw a pulse bomb, completely miss, and I was like, same old.
Been there.
Man, Decay missed it. I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. But as we've been saying, Mid-Season Madness is happening right now. And before the tournament actually kicked off, we did get an update from the Overwatch League announcing that due to some unforeseen developments regarding immigration requirements, aka visa issues, the Hangzhou Spark are not currently in Korea for the event. They are playing their matches from the team facility, and they played earlier today, leading into the podcast, and there's also a little bit of a hiccup in regards to seeding for the Mid-Season Madness, since Spark technically were supposed to be the top seed, but ended up being a second because of a administration error that caused the
What are we
mix-up.
playing? Monopoly now? Like what? Due to a paperwork
just
error,
like-
you get the bye week.
They're like, sorry guys.
Yeah.
So it's a good,
Shit
it's a
happens.
good thing they won.
And bumped the tournament. They bumped the prize pool too.
Yes.
They did.
Like, as a result, which I don't know why.
I guess just as like yeah, we messed up. So again, we're playing Monopoly. There's been a bank error. So here's $200. do not pass go, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I talked about it on the pre-stream. It shouldn't make a difference. Like, it isn't like they're playing like Hawaii. So this is just effectively a regular match to them. Because they're playing in Seoul, it's basically like they're playing one of the Seoul teams. So anybody who's going to start throwing out the ping arguments right now needs to shut that shit down right now, because this is basically a normal match for them. There may be a little bit of it's not LAN ping, but it is a normal match for them. So if they start beefing it like they were on some of the maps earlier, that's all them, man. But yeah, it does kind of suck that they couldn't get there, but I know China to South Korea is a bit of a tricky visa from what I've understood, and what I've talked to certain people, so that don't have children and get to travel. So but yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. But yeah, we'll see. It will be kind of funny if they win and then they're not there to actually lift the trophy. That'll be kind of funny. We'll get to see whether or not they're actually playing in their pajamas, like they joked on the desk earlier. Like, it's just work from the traditional work from home attire, like business from the waist up and then like shorts from the waist down, kind of thing. So
if they're wearing them. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I was laughing so hard because when they were introducing the teams, it was very obvious that whoever wrote the script didn't actually update it, knowing that this news has already dropped like a week ago. So they were actually trying to bring the Hangzhou Spark out onto the stage. He's like, taking the stage now, the Hangzhou Spark, and it's like they're not there. It's like, what do you mean? But you know, as we
bunch of
mentioned,
weak waves and everything.
yeah, yeah, they did bump the prize pool a little bit. So you know, the teams are competing for a prize pool, which is now officially over 1 million USD. So you know, we got the top teams out of the East and the West duking it out, and the teams that are at this event are the Florida Mayhem, the Hanjo Spark, Boston Uprising, Houston Outlaws, Atlanta Reign, and the Seoul Infernal, aka Ramsey's worst team in the East.
Yes.
Despite being the top seed.
Yes.
I'm gonna air quote that because of the administration error.
You don't want the Spark legally coming after you, huh? Because that's what they were threatening to do. They were like, "But our lawyers said."
I don't want to pick a fight with China.
No.
I'm outnumbered, so you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, so far so good. I mean, we watched the first match on stream, and then you know the current match is going on. So unfortunately, I can't do both. I can't podcast and watch it at the same time. So I'm kind of flipping back and forth. But the first match was a
screen over there.
Yeah. I should put it up on my work computer because that's like on this side. But that's on its way out, so I don't want to push that any harder than it already has to do. Like I actually have to be able to work on that tomorrow.
Right.
But yeah, the first match was a banger. Like that, although it was like a tale of like 4 teams, because it just depended on you know which team showed up which map, and there was like. I hate to say it, but I don't think either one of these teams is going to make it real far because neither one of them showed any like diversity. They are basically like, we are the best at what we do. Oh no, I got to do something different. I guess I'll wait till next map. So
yeah, it was
push, and after that, oh no.
Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting match because it's like, you know, on paper, you're talking about Rush versus Dive primarily because those are the 2 main components here that these teams play. You know, obviously, Gooshway wants to be playing the Winston nonstop. And, you know, really at its core, you know, we had a pretty bad C9 moment from the Florida Mayhem,
Yes.
which they had momentum going in their favor despite Spark's really good attack on Blizzard World, and they just kind of like gave it away at that point. And
Look, it wasn't a good attack. It was just a shitty defense. Like
Yeah.
they tried to play like rush defense, and the Spark just walked around the map until they couldn't get to him. So
yeah. But like the gist of it is, at least from like the Spark perspective, you know, Shy would go in, get an early hack, the Dive would come in, and Leave would just be an absolute menace in the back line.
Yep.
In just about every team fight, and that was basically like the bread and butter, at least, for the Spark. But you know, whenever they tried to run Ramatra up against you know, someone in the Mayhem, it was just like, yeah, it was pretty brutal. You know, we opened up and it was, you know, 100-0 in both rounds of control in favor of the Mayhem. It's like, well, that's basically how we saw it on paper.
yeah. And I will say Mayhem's dive isn't bad. Like Mayhem's dive is actually really good as well. Obviously, it's not as good as the Sparks dive. So I actually have a little more faith in the Mayhem long term, unless they get like super like destroyed by whatever next team they play. But I feel like Atlanta's just gonna walk over the Spark. Like I feel like Atlanta's that team that can run dive or rush and actually, you know, do well on both. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Now, as far as Houston Boston goes, like I don't want to make any like live predictions, but I think that one is going to be a good game too. I mean, they're currently on Hollywood, and it looks like you know, I got it up briefly on the stream. I don't want the Blizzard gods to come after me, so I'll take it down. But yeah, it looks like they just started their attack. Houston's attacking, and they took the first map 2-0, so looking good for Houston. I hope Houston does well. But yeah, obviously the favorites are probably the Rain and the Infernal going in. But it's going to be a quick bracket. I mean, it's only going to take a couple of days. Like, this isn't like the mid-season we're used to where we're like week-long event. Like, it's going to be, you know, this weekend and done, because I think it finishes up what, tomorrow? So
Well, yeah, because there's like a late game, but it's like really early Saturday technically. Because
yeah.
like today there's four matches, and it's every 2 hours, and it started at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So then the last match would be fairly late. So we had the Mayhem versus Spark, now we have the Uprising versus Outlaws. After this, we move on to the winners round two, which is the Spark versus Atlanta for the
Yep.
next one, and then the winner of Boston Houston faces the Infernal for like the late night match. So if you're watching tonight, you're basically in it for the long haul. You're probably gonna be up for probably 3-4 more hours at this point. If you're
Yeah.
watching it live, but yeah, it is a quicker turnaround, but it's just it's a little off-putting knowing it's Thursday through Saturday, only because it is a late game, and since they are playing in Korea,
The timing is off.
the time zones kind of like play into that, so it's much more condensed compared to what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be done by Father's Day, and we'll be moving on. So, yeah, I'm not against this like shortened tournament structure, I guess, for the mid-season tournament. But yeah, I hope like if all the matches are somewhere close to the quality of that first match, I'll be happy. Like that's enough for me.
Who did you have in your bracket in this one? Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you have yours up. I will note I completely forgot to fill out my bracket last week.
Yeah, I look, honestly, I filled out my bracket about 15 minutes before the tournament started. So let's see. I actually have I got the first match completely correct. Like you and I were the same on that one. So we both got that one correct. This match I have going to the Outlaws, 3-2. So hopefully it ends up being a little closer than it's looking right now. But at the end, let's see, who do I have at the end? At the
I
end,
have Atlanta versus Houston.
I have Atlanta versus Infernal. So I have the Infernal squeaking it out in the lower bracket. So
Okay.
against
So that's
Houston.
our difference there. I have
Yeah.
Outlaws over Infernal in the lower bracket.
Yeah, so fairly close. I assume Ramses has Houston winning.
All the way, baby.
Never dropping a map.
No. In fact, they actually start gaining other maps from other teams. They start getting added into the. Nah, I mean, I could see a couple different teams going off with it, but I mean, with how Florida looked against Hangzhou, I think it's going to be Houston and Atlanta. I think still at the end.
I think that's a safe bet. I wanted to see one team from each region, and honestly, I wanted to see. Look, this is a terrible reason I put Infernal versus the Rain at the end, but I want to see them come second. Okay, look, I want the Infernal
You gotta
to finish
continue
second.
the meme of Philadelphia, damn it.
Yes, that look, there was all kinds of like breakdowns and stuff as I was doing this bracket in my head. I was like, okay, this team has these players, this team, but when I got to the end and I was like, oh, but Inferno could finish second, I was like, that's what I'm doing. So
yeah, the bridesmaids law trumps everything.
Yeah, exactly. So don't let your memes be dreams, I guess is the best way. So that is look, I want Houston to win. I am 100% on board of the Houston train winning. But when I got to that point and I could choose them to end second, like I can choose the Infernal to end second, I had to go that way.
I respect it.
There you go.
But I didn't even have them going that far because I do have them losing Houston in the lower bracket, but that's just me. But yeah, either way, like the homestand team does not have the best track record, but especially for Philadelphia, that just and that happens outside of the homestands on top of that, so it's just something that happens through and through for them. And stuff like that carries over. It doesn't matter if you rebrand. You could throw a new paint job on it. You're still the same underneath to me. Damn it.
Exactly.
I haven't shown you guys this. A couple of months ago, a friend gave me a signed pop that has the entire season 1 roster on here. signed on here. Now, there's a couple of these players. If we can take a walk down memory lane real quick. There's a couple of there's a couple of these signatures on here that you may not recognize because it's been so long. Like Shadowburn, like Boombox,
Ooh,
Neptuno, the Joe Meister.
nice.
Signature.
I feel like I
The
need to break out
Dayfly.
my FU
The
jersey.
Dayfly signature.
Nice.
This might be the only thing Dayfly's ever signed in his life, actually. The Snillo, the Fraggy.
Where
the
is
Poco,
Snillo
the
though?
Hoppa. He's in the forest collecting mushrooms.
Exactly. Glad you picked up on that.
Did you see? I saw some. By the way, I saw a very funny meme earlier today. For any people listeners who have seen Into the Spider-Verse, or sorry, Across the Spider-Verse so far,
The new one.
In the new movie, in Miles Morales' room, apparently in the background there is like an Overwatch League like flag or logo. And Pharaoh had a great tweet today where it was like, so you know that some Spider-Man's canon event had to have been the Nene graph?
Yeah. That's awesome. That is amazing. Oh.
And yeah, we'll see. Like Inferno's done much better than I thought they were going to do.
That's not surprising. Sorry, I had to throw.
I'm just waiting for the next rank in, and to see whether or not
I'm gonna move them up one
it
place.
switches.
No, they'll win.
Place.
They'll win, and they'll end up below Chengdu somehow.
Look, you got to give Chengdu just like the veterans respect. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes the only way to win is to not fight.
Well, like we talk about the overactive media thing too. For years, like before Chengdu like just decided not to play, we had been like, oh, like they're gonna make them play. They're gonna make somebody play. They're gonna make teams play. And the fact that like Chengdu is just like not fielding a team, and now that overactive media has really pushed to like where they're gonna have franchise fees like done. I do wonder if we're gonna get any other of these teams because, like, the Chinese teams are at least like partially government funded, correct?
Yes, that is
like
that is safe to assume.
I wonder if like what other teams we're gonna see just not show up next year. Does Cloud9 finally pull it in, and say we're done?
I wouldn't be surprised because Cloud9's been one of the more vocal teams that want out along the way. So. Cloud9 in general is been dropping esports orgs left and right. So esports is a general. I think certain teams that have these bigger, I'd hate to say these bigger like venture capitalists behind them may stick it out longer than the endemic esports organizations, just because the endemic esports organizations are struggling more. So we will probably see more. Cohabitation with the contenders scene at this point. Maybe next year they'll rebrand into something similar to the Valorant scene where you have like remediation and now that because the thing holding us back from that has always been the franchise fees, but now that is gone, there really is no reason that these teams have to stay in the league. If there are other teams that can field teams that can actually play in the league. So it is, and this is something that I'm sure we'll talk about a lot more once we get closer to like the end of the season. But it is an interesting turn of events now that we don't have that, the ball and chain keeping teams here anymore.
Yeah. We'll see.
Absolutely.
But outside of esports, has anything happened in the game, Totem? Like, has any new stuff been announced?
Not really. I mean, we kind of had like a minor patch this Tuesday. Which, of course, included Season 5. We got a couple of other general updates, including new balance changes, which are interesting, I guess would be one way to put it. We also
Mildly.
have the return of the on fire system, and a little bit more outside of that. So just coming to some of the general notes, we have Lifeweaver now being able to be unlocked via completing all of his challenges. They also made changes to weekly challenges requiring wins, and those have been converted to complete games. Wins grant double progress.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds oddly familiar. It seems to be, another thing that we've been wanting for quite a
Mhm.
bit of time.
Yep.
Well, and they made it so that the required amount to complete is now
It
more
is more.
still,
Yeah.
but it balances out a little bit. Right? They said that, for example, win 10 games could take any number of games to complete, around 20 games on average, and complete 30 games wins. Excuse me, grant double progress takes between 15 and 30 games, also averaging around 20.
Right.
Yeah,
So
the only egregious one that I saw was the one where you have to win. It used to be win 5 games as 2 rolls, but now it is play 15 games as 2 rolls, or win, whatever, 8 games at that point as 2 rolls. Like that went up a lot. So like the that math didn't translate somehow. Like it should have been 10. Like where did you guys get 15 for 2 rolls? So that's
Maybe it
30.
was just an administration error.
Yeah, this like the
the
I don't
challenge
know.
is too easy if it's just 10.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like they could have easily, well, it's 10 per roll, so it would still be 10 games at least. So, and that's queuing into specific roles, which all the other challenges are like queue as all roles, win, games as open queue or all roles, or stuff like that. So if you do that, you won't ever get to play 2 roles. You're always in support jail. Occasionally you get put in tank jail. But yeah, so I don't know. That's the only egregious one. Other than that, I think this was a good change. Like this is what we wanted. Like you said, all the other challenges, the math made sense. It's just that one of the, win games as 2 rolls. I'm like, why did you guys bump it up to 15? Like that's so weird. Like I don't know.
Well,
It's just
and
there to stick out like a sore thumb, basically.
they did some other stuff too. I wanted to mention this because just to touch on a buddy of ours, that On Fire is back. So when you play well and you get a lot of kills,
Mhm.
you're on fire. But they added the new blazing state,
Mm-hmm.
where when you're even more on fire, you're now blazing.
Yes.
And blazing cannot be maintained as easily, so you'll need to outstanding play to keep the heat on. New sound effects, new visuals. Apparently, it shows up in the kill feed now too.
It does.
Um,
It's a cool system. I will say, and you can steal it. That's the other cool part. So if someone on the other team is on fire or blazing, like someone named Bob,
Yeah.
then you could kill them and steal it. And I actually did that like 3 times in a game I played earlier today as Zenyatta, and that person got really mad because he was like, "Dude, I just got blazing," and I was like, "It's quick play on Coliseo. Like, calm down, Genji." Stop losing these
Every
duels.
time I see this, though, it just makes me think of NBA Jam. He's on fire. Get him out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, we're gonna bring this back, and I mean, they did also kind of like expand on it a little bit outside of that in regards to the on fire, where now it also counts like mitigating damage. It
Mhm.
also counts as saves. Your healing counts towards it. Assists, capturing and contesting different objectives. Same with like boosting damage and also doing crowd control abilities as well. So it's not quite as like I can say like one dimensional like it was in the past, but
No.
at least there's more ways to attribute towards it now, which is just going to be better for everyone because now it doesn't feel like you have to play a specific role in order to obtain it, whereas
Yeah.
before it definitely felt more in that vein.
It I will say it definitely was very easy to maintain the blazing status as Zenyatta. Just because I was constantly healing, doing damage, and getting assists, that it definitely seems like it weights everything fairly evenly, which is good. But certain characters are going to have an innate advantage. Not that it provides any in-game advantage, but it is fun to talk shit in game. You're like, oh well, what are you doing, Genji? Like you're 6-3. So what? I'm 4-4, but I'm blazing. Kind of stuff. So, that kind of thing. So, I had a Genji like 3 games in a row, and him and I went back and forth every game, and he eventually rage quit when I Zenyatta kicked him into a Hanzo dragon, and then he just quit the match. So I have that saved. I will actually probably make a short of that, but it's a cool system. Like the on fire system. I don't want to hype it up too much because this definitely falls into the bucket of things we had that they took away for no reason that we have back now. So I don't want to laud this as some amazing system. Yes, they made some UI improvements and they've tweaked it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's the same system we had in 2016.
That is definitely true. Outside of that, we also have the return of competitive mystery heroes, which will also offer some new titles and competitive points. If you're still looking to get more golden guts, because there's nothing else to spend your CP on. We also have an update on inactivity changes to competitive, where if you did not play the prior season, you'll be marked as inactive, and then it won't display your skill tier or your division. And then each role can also be inactive separately, which that's just another quality of life thing. So you're not constantly just seeing the last rank you had, even though it was 4 seasons ago.
It also means that you just have to do placements again. Like that's what it equates to, and I think it's a good change. I have yet to complete placements in competitive in Overwatch 2, so this does not affect me, but I think this is a good thing because you always got those people. It may have been someone we mentioned earlier that were like, I'm a GM player, and yeah, what in 2015, that it's very different now. So no, I think this is a good change. I think they are slowly getting the ranked queue to a serviceable point. I don't think it's great yet, but competitive mystery heroes, I may actually do that one because unfortunately the last time that came around, I was too busy and I didn't get a chance to play it. So this one I may actually sit down and grind out enough to actually get placed.
That will definitely be interesting, but of course, we did have a slew of balance changes. I don't know if I want to go over all of these because there is a lot here. I feel like the more important ones to talk about, though, are specifically the crowd control abilities in the game. We gotta talk about Cassidy.
It just slows.
Freaking the go long, just hucking it down.
So okay. So Cassidy, right? His magnetic grenade no longer has a max projectile travel range of 10 meters. It also magnetizes towards a target from 1.5 meters away and will chase them up to 1 second. They also upped the impact damage from 0 to 10, but they reduce explosion damage from 120 to 70. And stuck targets now have their movement slowed by 30%. So if you are stuck with a magnetic grenade, you're affected and hindered. So you'll be interrupted, and it will prevent movement abilities from being activated. Now, that being said, that also kind of ties into movement abilities like Wraith Form, with Reaper, same with Fade with Moira, where, you can't use it as an escape out of, your steel traps, your Graviton Surges, your magnetic grenades, so much and so forth, which you could before, to, not be affected by that. So, we're slowly, moving back to that. But we also had some Mei changes as well to her primary fire, with, the left-click damage being reduced from 100 to 55. The primary slow is no longer always 40%. It scales between 30 and 50%, with the primary impact building up to a slowing effect that sticks to the enemy for 1.5 seconds and slows them 75%. Then you can also use your alt fire to detonate for 40 extra damage on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've definitely seen like a lot of videos posted on Twitter about like the magnetic grenade, like I feel like a lot more people have been like honing in on this stuff more so than the sniper changes that we saw, which to me was definitely a bigger deal between the two, especially for like the casual player experience in Overwatch 2.
Ramses, you want to go first
I mean,
on this one?
it's just what the ridiculous parts of it are. Like things that are just like more like moving a slider. This like changes that are about moving a slider, I think it kind of will fade into the background a little bit. But straight up making it where like, because people would like this too when like Cass could start rolling in midair, right? Where they're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible! What, this is ridiculous! This is so like. Versus like you look at this where they finally they increase. Like this is just as big as far as like tracers like spread being increased now too. So where you can't just go like 80 feet away from somebody and laser them down like and run away.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so just the ridiculousness because like let's be honest here. No one like the amount of kills people are gonna get from throwing these mag grenades from like 50 yards downfield and beating somebody with them is gonna be really little.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm actually like I think could be bad with it is, I mean, and they reworked how they did it, but like it's the chase, like how long it chases, and then the explosion damage is like being reduced is good. The slow and the impact damage are what, like the impact damage is super minimal, but like the slow I think is what's going to be bigger.
Mm-hmm. And it's really like it makes certain characters almost not playable. Like we are not going to have a Doomfist meta at all when this is in the game because it shuts him down like immediately.
You can't even do movement abilities. It doesn't even like
you can't do anything.
It stops you.
Sombra, it's going to make Sombra a lot worse because if he can land that magnetic grenade, Sombra's dead because whereas before she used to just be able to TP out and be fine.
And Spyder, it's almost like there was an ability before this that he had that could stop you. It almost was like a flash grenade of some sort.
See, that's very different. That was a stun, and this is only a slow, and slows are fine.
No, this is a hindrance.
Yeah.
It's a stun versus a hindrance, guys.
Yeah, I don't know where they get the idea that slows or hindrances are less annoying. Look, as an avid Mei enjoyer, I actually enjoyed Mei in her current iteration. Like she was good against certain heroes, but she had hugely defined weaknesses. The ramp up just makes things more difficult. Like I as meme worthy as the Cassidy changes are, I actually feel like they took a step backwards with Mei. Like I feel like Mei is much worse now than she was because Mei right now was great in these rush comps because of the cleave potential. Whereas now, like, sure, you can slow them all down, but your damage is not good, even in the cleave, because even if you slow them to the point where they get to the point where you can detonate them by right clicking on them, you're still only doing that damage to one hero. Whereas before with the 100 DPS, you could cleave them all down and put pressure on the whole team. So I actually don't like the Mei change. It feels fine at, my level, because usually with Mei, all I'm doing is picking out, that straggler anyway, or I'm camping the back line and walling off the Ana and then killing the Ana anyway. But yeah, I don't like the slow changes at all. Like, I don't think the game needed it. Like the Cassidy change, I think is okay enough that I am willing to play with it, because I do feel like supports needed somebody to be able to help them, because we are hitting a level of support power creep right now that supports are carrying the game because they can do everything. you see it in streamer games, you see it in Overwatch League games. Like, if you can keep your two supports alive, they're in the back line and they can do enough damage and keep everybody alive long enough that you're just going to win the fight. Like, that is your almost singular avenue to win fights right now, is to take a support out. So I think this is a good step to bringing that support power creep down. Unfortunately, the next hero we are going to get is going to be a support, and I can guarantee you that they are not going to make the Life Weaver mistake that they made last time, and this support is going to come out super busted. Because I can tell you, like Ramsey said earlier, Bobby was mad that the battle pass didn't sell well because people saw Life Weaver and saw how bad he was, and they were like, all right, well, we're not buying that fucking battle pass. Like, I'll grind to 45. If I get to him, I get to him. Otherwise, he's just going to sit in, support jail anyway. So I think they need to start exploring ways to stop flanker heroes. I don't know if the Cassidy grenade change is the way to go about it, but I am at least happy that they are exploring it without going into full CC. But I don't think they're going about it the right way with Mei. I feel like Mei was already good enough at what she did that, if anything, she needed a nerf. Like, she needed just a DPS reduction. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. But yeah, as a Mei player, I don't like the Mei change. And as a Cassidy player, I'm just, at this point, I have no idea how to throw that freaking grenade. Like, I tried like 4 times earlier. Like, no, like if I try to hit somebody next to me, right, it like goes like down. So then I'm like, all right, then I need to aim up a little bit. So then I aim up and it's like it goes over their head. So I'm like, cool, all muscle memory that I've had since Overwatch 1 is gone at this point for him. So
you just gotta close your eyes, spin the mouse, and then just throw it.
Look, I'm not taking your Hanzo approach, okay?
I'm just waiting for like the highlight reels of like dudes just like throwing mag grenades from like across the map and just getting like Kobe shots and stuff.
Now that is going to be fun. Just imagine Cassidy that gets really good with these magnetic grenades is now essentially a dive hero because he can grenade across the map and then the Winston can just jump them and there's nothing they can do about it.
Well, you think about like we're gonna get like the ML7 or like CarQ style, like those Ana lineups where people talk about how you line up your grenades specifically. We're getting that exact same thing of that, and the fact that it like, okay, so that distance is one thing, but the fact that they also increase the chase time of it too.
Yeah,
that's the grenade itself is one thing. It's still like a skill shot, and like it's still even in that is a skill shot, but that like. Even in the base state, man, I don't have good aim, guys. I'll just throw that grenade and be like, all right, it's gonna go around the. I've watched
hopes
these
and prayers.
L turns. I've watched these grenades make 90-degree L turns before. Like the fact that it's gonna take even longer now, ridiculous.
Now, I think somebody did testing, and the only hero that could effectively get away from it was Tracer. So, because all the other heroes, yeah, like they could double blink and be gone. Like obviously Sombra can get away if she sees it's coming, but every other hero like Winston, Sojourn, any hero with any like Genji couldn't get away from it if they use their movement ability if it had locked onto them at that point. Obviously you can pre-move and dodge it, but if it is locked onto you, the only hero that could get away from it was Tracer because she's the only one that can move fast enough and far enough that it would stop going. But yeah, they tried like 5 or 6 times with Sojourn, and Sojourn just died every single time. So yeah, fun changes. I mean the sniper changes are look, I played 3 maps as Widowmaker. And they were actually the 3 big Widowmaker maps. Widow, whoever, the sniper lady. It's late here, and I've been drinking heavily. No, it was Havana. It was Havana. It was Busan, the outside area one, and it was Junkertown. I played all three of them. The sniper changed for Widowmaker. The only one it affected was Junkertown. Like, even in Havana, I was still able to one shot people on that first, walk in. The only time I ran into a problem was point 3, and I couldn't one shot people if they were coming out of spawn. But as soon as they started coming up the hill, I was able to one shot 200 HP heroes again. Busan, I had no problem with. As soon as I could see them, I could kill them. The only map I didn't get to play Widowmaker on was Ilios. And from what I've heard, the only problem with Ilios is you can't kill people from the back arch. So I don't think this is as doom and gloom as Widowmaker's made it out to be. I think it does affect her, but I still think she's playable on maps that favor her. She's just not as oppressive. And the Hanzo change I'm just mad about, because I used to pick Hanzo as a counter to Reaper because I could just hit Reaper's head every single time. So I am just mad about that one. But I haven't gotten to test out Hanzo that much. I played, I think, one round as Mystery Heroes as Hanzo, and that's not like a good gauge on him. So
Yeah, definitely. Outside of that, we also had like a slew of changes to Lifeweaver. I'm not gonna go over all the patch notes.
Yeah.
But it just shows you like we've been seeing tweaks to Lifeweaver basically every single patch at this point in time. Whether or not this is gonna be enough to like kind of balance him out at this point to make him more attuned to the power level of the other healers remains to be seen. But I think really the other big thing was the changes to Watchpoint Gibraltar, because it's been a while since we've actually had like map redesigns of any sort, really.
Mm-hmm. It's noticeable. Real quick to the Lifeweaver, Avril said some team and contenders tried him because they are on this patch now. They played him for one round. They got steamrolled, and apparently that cost them the round, and no one has picked Lifeweaver since.
Okay.
In the average gamer, it may have made him slightly better, but overall, I don't think it's made a huge change. But the Gibraltar changes, holy shit! Like, I played Gibraltar for the first time today. It is like a new map. Like, that second point is so much easier to attack now. Like, there's like a stair that goes up to the top now from the outside. So you legitimately have like so many different ways that you can come in there that they can't bottleneck you as easy. And that last point is so much different to defend now. Like, you have so many different options. Like, it is awesome looking.
Yeah, because looking back, there really hadn't been a ton of changes since Temple of Anubis. I'm trying to remember what other map changes we've seen. Yeah, it's been very
Horizon.
Minor.
I think Horizon was the biggest one, right? Because Horizon was the one that they pulled for 2 seasons and then completely redid, and it was still terrible. And then they pulled it for a game and then made Star Watch out of it, and it was still bad. So, yeah, it's cool that they, that they're doing this. I hope we see more maps get this treatment.
Absolutely. So outside of that, obviously we have other things involved with Season 5. So we did get our look at the roadmap as well as Quest Watch, which is interesting, I guess would be one way to put it. I logged in for the first time since the patch today, and I was talking to Spyder about this earlier. I thought it was really weird because it's you go into the Quest Watch, and the way that they have it is it's kind of like a visual novel, I guess would be one way to put it, within the game. But then they also have it tied directly to what level you're at in the battle pass.
Mm-hmm.
So you're unlocking different parts of this story every 10 or 15 or however many levels. But it's you click on it, you're going through, and then it's the only character that is fully voiced in this is Tracer. And you might get some excerpts of audio from Orisa. What it feels really disjointed. It was really just taking me out of it, where I really was not paying attention to what was actually happening. as I was like reading through the thing. So I thought it was just really weird. Now that being said, I do enjoy the theme for this season. You know, we kind of have like that RPG element. You know, you had the fantasy element to it. You know, we also have a quote creator mode, which is basically like a workshop mode event that is over in the arcade, which is basically like a big boss mode, which is 4v1. And if you are the one, you are playing kind of like a buffed up Reinhardt, or the demon Reinhardt, or whatever they ended up calling him for this. I played one game of that earlier. We lost, but you know, Spyder was kind of like walking me through it a little bit after the fact, so it wasn't as one-sided as I was making it out to be. But you know, a fun little mode. But it was also very frustrating just knowing the Torbjorn that was on my team was basically just, you know, on the high ground, sitting right beside his turret, but not actively firing. So it's like, well, what are we actually doing here, guys? It's like, are we trying to win this, or are we just throwing?
Yeah, no, the new mode's fun. It's just deceptive because the littles, as I call them, the 4 team members, need 3 points to win. So you have to kill the Reinhardt 3 times, whereas the Reinhardt needs 30 points to win. So it is a little deceptive, because you're like, oh my god, he's only gotten, you know, we've only killed him once. How are we ever going to beat him? But if you look at the bar shows you, you know, what's needed. I did like that because I was initially scared because of the maps they picked. There is parts to knock Reinhardt off. It would have been a little cheesy if knockoffs counted as an elimination, but knockoffs just take away basically 3,000 of his life, so half of his life bar. So, you know, if you consistently get knockoffs, that's a good way to knock his life bar down. But the mode is really fun. Like it is a lot of fun, but it is hard to win as the Reinhardt if the enemy team either has a Orisa or are actually coordinated. I ran against a team that was running Lucio, Orisa, Lifeweaver, and then their DPS was Genji, and like I couldn't do anything as the Reinhardt. Like anytime I would get close, I would get booped, I'd get javelined, or somebody would get gripped. So like that comp was like evil, because it was on Eichenwald. So they would just, you know, go to the high ground, and then I'd have to rotate, and then, you know, so on and so forth. But it is overall a fun mode. Like it's cool. It was made by Cactus Puppy. You know, you can watch the streamers play it. He gave them the code so that they could team queue into it. So there is like a couple of matches of like Seagull and Flats and Emong playing, and those are hilarious. Like they just bully the shit out of each other. The actual quest watch stuff is fine. Like I like the aesthetic, but I was a little disappointed in the battle pass. But it's still a huge step up from, you know, the generic gray boxes. So whatever. It's cool that they're trying to tell a story, and we're getting all this extra stuff along the way. So, you know, I will say that all of the skins look fantastic. Like outside of the Ana skin, which doesn't seem to fit because it's like an Eskimo skin. That's like their one. They got to have one in every battle pass that just doesn't make sense. They were like, oh shit, we designed this and we don't know where to put. All right, just put that in Quest Watch. That's fine. Other than that one, all the skins look phenomenal. Like the Genji skin looks amazing. Like I have the mythic Genji skin, and I actually think I like this one better, just because of the detailing and stuff in it. But other than that, I mean, the other big thing that I know a lot of people have been asking for is the team queue mini season. So there's going to be like a ranked team queue where you can only queue in with 5 people, and you queue regardless of rank. So are we going to see like the infamous return of like the NYXL 5 stack late at night, just running the ladder? That could be fun. So oh yeah, and prop hunt. Everybody loves prop hunt. Like that is like the big thing, and that is coming at the end of July. So we gotta wait a while for that one.
Yeah, and it's also worth touching on too, at least with the mythic Tracer skin. It's kind of a progressive unlock based on your current level in the battle pass as well. So, you know, it changes at tier 45, 65, and also 80. So that's the first time we've kind of seen that coming into play as well, which is great to see. Outside of that, just looking at the roadmap, we do have the summer games coming up in July on July 11th. Lucy Ball is making a return, but we also have Winston's Beach Volleyball. So we have a new mode attached to this. So that was always one of the things with the recurrent events is how are they going to change it up, or are we just going to get the same thing just with a second ball or a new jump pad and shit like that for Lucio Ball? But at least is that we have an actual new game mode entirely for summer games, so I'm really excited about that. And we also have the confirmation of the next animated short for Sojourn, which is going to be premiering in game on August 4th. So also a change in that regard, because we're used to seeing the premieres on YouTube, now it's in game, which is an interesting change. So I'm curious to see if it's just going to be like an embed or how they're actually going to do that.
I was gonna say you guys also missed the most important thing on the battle pass, which was Cassidy, the Cassidy voice line, of course, voiced by Matt Mercer of Critical Role. Where Cass has a voice line that says, "How do you want to do this?" Which is
Oh, really? I had not seen that.
yeah,
That is amazing. No.
which is of course when in Matt Mercer's the dungeon master for Critical Role. Whenever a character is finishing off an enemy, he says, "How do you want to do this?" And they get to describe how they brutally eviscerate the corpse of somebody.
Yeah, that's his tagline. I actually, if I wanted to get up and fish it out, I have a mug with the initials on that from that. So it's the only Critical Role merch that I own, surprisingly, even though I am currently wearing a Dungeons and Dragons-esque shirt. So I had not seen that. But yeah, the animated short premiering in the client will be interesting because they did mention that it will premiere in client a week before it is put on YouTube. So
this is a staggered release.
Is this their like tipping their toes into the Fortnite water? Because that's how Fortnite does all their stuff. Like they have concerts and events and stuff. Like I remember installing Fortnite and watching BTS on there for Lily and Mickey. So that kind of thing. So Ariana Grande and shit like that. The Star Wars event. Like I remember the Star Wars event. Like I actually logged in for that. So maybe this is them because they keep pushing collabs. So this is like the toe dip. So we'll see if this is how they're building that technology out. So we'll see. It would be cool, right? And I don't think this will be in the game by then because I think they announced this for season 6, but they have that new firing range that has been in the game since the beginning that they're finally opening back up. Maybe it'll be a movie theater in there too. Or they actually have a movie theater, don't they? They have a movie theater in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if you could like go there and sit there and actually watch the trailer in game, like or the animated short. I don't want to say trailer. So that would be pretty funny.
Yep. Well, we'll see whether or not they take the idea. But we did have the season 6 trailer drop, as I mentioned earlier, during the Xbox Games Showcase. Which happened a couple of days before the season 5 trailer dropped. And of course, we got our I want to say like our introduction to like the story missions that are to come with this, but now we also got some details on how they're going to be implemented into Overwatch 2. So if you're wondering, well, what are we looking at here? You're going to have access to the Overwatch 2 invasion story missions during the season and permanently after, but the story missions are 1,000 Overwatch coins, which is equal to the premium battle pass, aka $10 USD. There's also going to be a brand new Sojourn legendary skin. So again, we went through these numbers earlier. There was like $19. And you'll have permanent access to Sojourn as a playable hero for new players by just completing the story mission challenges on that front. Now that being said, there's also like the ultimate invasion bundle, which is $40, which you will have access to all of that plus the premium battle pass with the 20 battle pass skip, as well as an additional 1,000 Overwatch coins. So you're basically getting $20 worth of coins. And then you also have a Cassidy and a Kiriko skin attached to it as well that are both legendary. So depending on what you're looking for, there's some decent value there, but like, I remember when this news hit, and looking on Twitter, and of course there was that immediate knee-jerk reaction of the price point. And Spider, you and I have talked about this. Like, we were never under the assumption that PvE was going to be free in Overwatch 2.
No.
The PvP components of the game, whether it's maps, heroes, the new game modes, and shit like that, were all going to be the free content. The PvE was never bundled into that portion of the game. But I don't know if people are just not remembering things right, or they're going to the wrong sources, or what the hell's going on. But I saw a lot of people who were like really confused by the fact that they're actually having to pay for the PvE missions. Now, that being said, would I rather have preferred that, we got at least one story mission for free to like test it out and then, go into it with a better indicator of what to expect before I actually made the purchase? Absolutely. But that's not the route that they took. But, it's very confusing to me because like, I understand when Overwatch 2 was initially announced, we had so many questions that just were left unanswered. And, there were still a lot, even up to a couple of weeks ago, that still were kind of in the same position. But at this point in time, I'm just like, I don't know where the general community is like leaning towards like the pitchforks at this point, knowing that it does cost money when we already kind of knew that we were going to have to pay for this type of content for the game. But I want to like try to wrap my head around it. I don't know if it's just the fact that it's like, well, we're not quite getting the extent of what we were supposed to on top of having to pay for it. So I feel like it's still just backlash from, the initial announcement of the PvE stuff more so than the actual price point in itself here.
I think a lot of it is because this news has been stuff where I even have friends who don't play the game anymore or who've never played the game like reach out to me and ask about it and say stuff. And the assumption has been that like, I don't think that the paying money is the thing. What it always comes down to is that it's the expectation that it's going to be another like 10-minute mission.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's in my immediate experience. I'm sure plenty of people were just mad that you're paying anyway, but I think that it's that we're paying if you're going to pay $10 for like an archives mission.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my personal gripe is that like, am I gonna pay $10, play this game for 10, and then have to deal with oh no, you're supposed to replay it so that you can do different things.
And it's not even that. Like you basically get 3 missions, and I forget if it was the Xbox article or I think it was the GameSpot article said that like one mission on hard with the cutscenes took like 1 journalist and 3 developers like 20 some minutes to complete, which if you remember is about an archives mission. Like an archives mission, if you were on the easiest difficulty, you could blow through it in like 8 minutes or something. But an average archives mission at your skill level generally took around 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah. And I agree with you. Like that is the part that people were mad about. Like, and they say that there are 8 cutscenes involved in this, over 3 missions, and you have to buy this $15 bundle. So it's not even like you're buying the battle pass for 10 and the missions for 5. You have to buy this $15 bundle, and then they're saying like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to give you this Sojourn skin that's worth $19, which is what we say it's worth. And you have to buy this, or you can buy the better one, and that includes more stuff. But the problem was the whole Overwatch 2 announcement was supposed to pull in a crowd that doesn't want to play PvP. Like the whole 2 in Overwatch 2 was supposed to be this PvE driven experience. Whereas we're not getting a PvE driven experience. We're getting a campaign mission. And if you turn around to any Call of Duty player, any other mainline first person shooter player and say, hey, do you want to buy just the campaign? They're going to be like, No. Like that's dumb. Like why would I buy one set of missions that I'm gonna play maybe once, when I can go on YouTube and watch someone else play it? Like we don't know the quality of these missions, and the fact that they are charging this much for it and trying to bundle it all together to make it seem like a perceived value is kind of like the thing that a lot of people are getting mad at. Like a lot of the people that are in tune to the game, like streamers and people like us who kind of knew that we were going to pay for something, is a little upset that now we are going to have to pay $15 to experience PvE, when we're never going to get like the fully realized version. And like my argument to it is, I also play a lot of Destiny 2. Like I play a lot of Destiny 2. Their battle pass or their seasonal content is basically 3 months long. It is $12, effectively $15, because they do the whole nonsense of like you have to buy coins to buy it, and you can't buy the right amount of coins, so you got to buy the general microtransaction bullshit. So you have to buy $15 worth of coins to buy the season, but season is $12, right? It gives you 3 months of story content. So those are acted cutscenes. I could post them because I took a video if you wanted to, but those are fully acted cutscene videos with story and a narrative that continues on. It also includes the battle pass. It also includes a whole bunch of skins. It includes multiple seasonal activities. It includes currency to buy premium stuff from their microtransaction store. So like, they can't even compete with one of the games that is considered one of the worst monetized free-to-play PvE games, even in like the same league. So like, I am willing to spend money on Destiny 2 because it is a good value proposition, because I know I will get my money out of it. It's sad to me at this point that Overwatch 2, for basically $5, I don't know if I'm going to get my money out of it. For these PvE missions. Like, I am absolutely going to buy the first pack and try them out for myself. Because let's face it, we're all too far invested at this point not to, and I need something to complain about. But if I'm not impressed, like, I'm not going to buy the PvE missions anymore. I'm just going to watch them. Like, I'm happy to watch the story evolve, but I don't need to play them. Like, how, and they say we're also getting a co-op mode. Well, the co-op mode is free. They didn't mention that. There is a co-op mission, which is essentially another Archives mission, where you escort Timmy around and he shoots people with Gatling guns.
Yeah, he's got a gun now.
Yeah, so there is that event coming as well. And that you don't have to pay for that. That everywhere I've seen, and I've looked multiple places, that's just a bonus mode. Like, that is like the Archives event. So yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so weird to me that as somebody who is happy to buy battle passes and cosmetics and stuff in games that I enjoy, at this point, Overwatch has become a game that I'm not willing to spend $5 on, essentially, for something, because you're going to get the battle pass anyway, because you're going to get the coins. But yeah, it's sad that they've like nickeled and dimed us so hard to the point where we're all like, this is stupid. Like, let us try it out. Like, and I had brought up to Totem, like, there were multiple people, in-tune people, not necessarily correct people, like Bad Pachamari, who thought that the Watchpoint pack included the first set of PvE. And multiple people said that. Flat said it as well. So it's not just Bad Pachamari's bad takes. But, I thought, maybe the first set would be included in there, but it wasn't. And, that's just a mistake on our part. But it is a little disingenuous that they sold us, this pack saying this is going to lead to PvE. Like, this helps, we all thought this helped fund PvE. And then at the end, they were like, no. So there's definitely a lot of people that are still mad that they canceled PvE for a basically glorified campaign mode. And I honestly think they should, knowing as down as the community was, first of all, they should have released all this shit when they announced that they were canceling PvE. Like they should have put all this stuff out and then said like, hey, just wanted to let everybody know that we're rolling the scope back. Like we're not gonna have these hero missions. This is what you're gonna get. And I think that would have helped the community, you know, grieve, I guess is the best way to put it. But B, it would have helped their PR because let's face it, Overwatch's PR at this point is dog shit. Like they have failed on multiple levels.
It hasn't been good since the game launched, guys.
Right.
Like Overwatch's PR has always been abysmal in a way that defies comprehension. Because like this is a multi-million-dollar company, a billion-dollar company that makes some of the biggest games in the world.
How do you take a game that won Game of the Year, only shooter to ever win Game of the Year, and run it this far into the ground due to lack of PR? Like that is incomprehensible. Like
I talked about it on our show last year, guys, being like, yeah, dude, I have people be like, so what is this? What is Overwatch 2? I don't get it. I don't understand what this is. Like in every, like, what if they just don't have a PR department?
Oh, they do. They just don't have a good one.
But like you compare this to like what Diablo's PR department or like World of Warcraft's PR department.
Look, honestly, you can't compare it to Diablo's department because they were willing to set Canada on fire for those screenshots of New York. Okay, that's a whole different level.
All those screenshots of like "Welcome to Hell," it's just like the orange, incredible.
You can't compare those PR departments. They're on different levels.
But yeah, I just like. I was talking to a friend earlier this week too about how like with this when we were talking about the battle pass prices. It's like, man, if you had like you talk about Blizzard like 5 years ago, and this was a company that people were like, these guys can do no wrong. This company is like tried and true. Like they make great games, they care, they're all about heart. They have all and like we know that the talent hasn't pushed that away. Bobby's been there the whole time, but it just feels so much more on its face. I think it is. I'm very confident in saying that like Overwatch is easily the most mishandled video game IP of all time.
Oh, I would definitely put it up there, for sure. Like I can make an argument that it definitely is for sure.
This game is. I am confounded and surprised. I can't believe it every time that we have these conversations.
I expecting nothing, and I am still disappointed at this point.
Dude, we're like 3 years ago. We're gonna get an anime series. We're gonna get this and this. Oh my gosh, we're expanding around the world, and now we're like, I don't want to pay $5 for this game because I'm so frustrated.
Like I was saying earlier, like there has not been a season where I have not bought the premium battle pass and then the premium pack so that I could buy the premium battle pass again. Like I'm not, after the first initial one, I wasn't double purchasing. I was really only purchasing one because I was rolling over the credits because I honestly have not bought anything in this. Like I didn't buy the cardboard Reinhardt skin. Like that was one of the first skins I was. I almost did.
I want to buy the monkey business one just for that phone call emote. But
look, I almost did, but they released that at the point where they did all this bullshit. So I was like, no, I'm saving those coins for the. So, yeah, like it's sad that it's gotten to that point because I have friends that are in the same boat that they're like, I love Overwatch, but I will not play it anymore because of what they've done to it. And that's sad. It's sad that you can have such a good game because let's face it, Overwatch as a game is probably in one of the healthiest states it's ever been in. Everything is fairly balanced. Like occasionally they have some rando weird shit like half map magnetic grenades, or like a season where Sojourn is so good that she's the only pickable hero. But beyond that, like most characters are playable. Most maps are fine at this point, other than Colosseo. Like the game as a whole is actually in a really good spot. So it's sad that they've just like, I don't know, pissed it down the drain, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, and I think, unfortunately, I don't think anything is going to change in time for it to recover. I feel like people are gonna move on. Like lots of big streamers have already said that they are gonna move on. Like the few that are left have said that they are gonna wait till season 6 and probably move on after that. Most of them already have. Like I was talking to Blaze and Bob earlier during the pre-stream, and I was like, dude, you remember when we started and there was like 700 Overwatch podcasts, and now there's like 7. So like, you know, it's sad that, you know, we're still here holding this banner, but at the same time, we've got to stick to, you know, our own laurels and be like, you know, you got to call them on their shit.
Yeah, they definitely don't make it easy on us. That's for damn sure.
Well, I mean, they give us stuff to talk about at least, so. But
I mean, it's not. I mean, you could. Everyone always makes the argument about, you know, any press is, you know, good press. There's no such thing as bad PR. There definitely is. You know, I don't care what people say.
We had kind of held out for this Microsoft deal, but that's looking more and more like it's either not going to be a possibility at all, or it's going to take a lot more time. So that was kind of like because I can tell you, Microsoft as a company just kind of lets their studios do whatever. Right. They're like, look at Bethesda. Like they were like, okay, do what you want. Like we'll pump as much money as you need into Starfield. Just, you know, make it as good as Skyrim and make sure it sells a bunch of stuff. And you know, they've taken some shit for that recently because of their first party stuff. But overall, it seems to be a working strategy for 90% of their IPs. So, yeah, you know, the sooner we can get Bobby out of there, the sooner we can give Blizzard back some, you know, anonymity, I think the better. But for now, you know, $15 booster packs and $40 Supreme packs is the way it's going to go. So, there is another mode coming too. I guess we should talk about that before we end the show, because that was the last big.
Yeah, a little bit, even though it's, you know, still waits out. We have Flashpoint, which is a new PvP core game mode that is coming out. And basically, we're going to have 2 new locales that are the biggest maps to date that we've seen for PvP. Basically, teams are going to be fighting over control of flashpoints. So you're looking to capture 3 of them before your opponent does. Says you'll have no time to relax once a point is captured, as the next one will already be waiting. So not only will this test your mechanical skills, but also your ability to plan ahead. Stopping opponents from moving on to the next flashpoint will be a huge key to victory.
Yep. It's
so
2 CP with extra steps.
Yeah, basically. We're just gonna add another point. All right. So it's not quite to like the conquest style that is so prevalent in other major FPS titles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some elements to it. It's just not all unlocked at one time. It's just one after the other.
Yeah, the hard point control type gameplay. It's not quite that. It is definitely more like a. It seems like it's more like, you know, I assume it's gonna play out like one unlocks and then another. Like I don't think they're gonna be like. And we don't know this for sure because they haven't really given us much on this, but I assume it's not going to be like Push, where it's like a linear map where like there's one in the middle and then you have to capture the next one and then the next one. It's going to be more like around the map. So like you have one that opens and maybe it's random. Like you don't know which point's going to open first. And then
I would hope it would be completely randomized for this type of mode specific.
Honestly, maybe not. Like maybe the first point is always the same,
Static.
but then after that one, because I feel like that would lead to a little bit better, not necessarily in like our leagues, but it would lead to a little bit better competitive strategy. But you know, it could go the other way. Like it could all be static. So the maps look great. Like the mode looks super chaotic. Like I had talked about it, I think 2 or 3 shows ago, where I was like a control style, like multiple point type of thing could never work in Overwatch. And this is very close to that. So I'm curious to see how this plays out because you know, depending on how this plays out, it's going to be rush comps like all the time. Like you're basically just going to need a Lucio to move you around the whole map the whole time, or you know, whatever the new support hero is. Like, you know, the team with Lucio Symmetra is going to win because they can just get to the points first. So it seems cool. Like I'm willing to try it as long as there's not Coliseo. I'm fine.
Yeah, just not an expanded version of Coliseo, since you know they do say it. They are larger maps.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh.
Because God forbid we've been on Coliseo enough as it is.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is what they have. It's a good use for all those TCP maps.
Yeah, yeah. If they remake them, so did Houston win? I missed the end of it.
Yeah, 3-0.
Ah, my perfect bracket is ruined.
Same.
You never
mean,
trust.
I had it
You never
3-1.
trusted.
No, I picked Houston. I just didn't pick 3-0. So
Yeah.
Ye of little faith.
it's
Oh,
Houston.
yeah.
Come on, man.
There's not enough faith to have them win it at all.
Of course not, neither.
Ramses.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. I mean, there were not really too much else to talk about outside of just the fact that at the end of the season 6 trailer that dropped, you know, during the showcase, they did tease the next support hero.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many details on that front, obviously, but you know, it was a nice surprise, you know, just kind of like sneak it in there, and then like after the fact, they were tweeting like the screenshot basically of the hero saying like, oh yeah, and you know, you might have seen the next hero basically, so
She's
we can actually
Peruvian.
have official confirmation.
Yeah, she's Peruvian, and apparently on Plat Chat they looked up that the average height of a person in Peru is 5'2". So, she should not have the same hitbox problem as Lifeweaver, if it is accurate to, you know, where she is from. Beyond that, we don't know anything about her. It looks like she's got a big like railgun type weapon, and people are like, it's a sword, it's a gun sword. You know, people don't know what it is. I personally think it looks like a railgun, but I'm all for like go.
I was gonna say it looks like what's her name's gun in League of Legends.
That a lot of people made that comparison. So
Like the really big, where it looks like a big giant like 2x4.
yeah, and apparently I haven't played League of Legends since that character was introduced, but apparently that character is like a support as well that is like a fragger. So I am all for like another Zenyatta fragger type support. So if that's the case, that would be pretty cool. I think it was reinforced that he hopes like her ultimate is like she splits it in half and it turns into swords, and then she just goes like berserker style, and I'm like, that would be amazing. But that is the least support ultimate I think I've ever heard of. So
Hey, anything to bring back the bloodthirsty supports. All right.
that would be awesome. Like that would be pretty cool. So like I said, like my favorite support is Zenyatta because I'm not playing support at that point. I'm playing DPS that can heal. So I'm all for supports like that. And like I said, they're not going to make the Lifeweaver mistake again. She is going to come out busted. Like she is going to be super busted.
Yeah, which is why like we need the support to have an execute ability. You know, give me the option to one shot someone who is under like 20% HP.
I just want her to have like I just want her to have like the Halo execute, whereas you can just one shot somebody if you're right behind them. Like if you can get behind them and just like boom, and you just insta give them, like they just fall over. Like that would be hilarious.
Yeah, because if there's one thing the community loves, it's insta kills.
Insta kill. Yeah, I mean she's right there, so it's not a sniper, so it's fine.
Right.
But she looks cool. Like somebody like photoshopped the shit out of it and like pulled out all the details, and so far she looks cool. So I'm a little disappointed that she doesn't follow the no capes rule set by Edna Mode, but we'll see how that plays out.
Absolutely. Well, that's basically all I got. So let's go ahead and wrap things up because we are running a little bit long. So just as a reminder, guys, of course, the best thing to do to keep in contact with everything going on with Heroes Never Die, you can reach us on Twitter at HND Overwatch. We do have all of our video content available for you on YouTube, both at HND Overwatch as well as Overwatch League Network. And outside of that, of course, you can always talk to us and reach us on our Discord at discord.me/OWLN show. Now, outside that, of course, you can also reach all of our hosts on Twitter as well. You can find me at Totally Drunk. Ramses, what about you?
You can find me at Ramses_GG. And for Spyder, where can I find you?
They can find me at _Spyder Gaming or on the Discord. Like, Discord's still the best way to get a hold of me. I don't subscribe to Twitter Blue, so you won't see any of my replies. They are now officially buried under the paying customers. So Discord's the way to go.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, you enjoy your mid-season madness. Don't forget, we got the Overwatch World Cup qualifiers starting this next week. So, make sure you're watching on Twitch. Get your drops. Basically, watch for hours to unlock the skins, the player icon, or whatever the hell else they're doing on that. Should be a good time, but we'll keep you guys posted if we're going to be doing some co-streams on that front, because I definitely want to do a couple of those, whether it's, on our YouTube or, over on my Kick. Whichever one. But in the meantime, guys, we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time. You enjoy your time. Enjoy your time in game, and we will see you then. You guys take care.